5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
What's good, everybody? Welcome to episode 11. This is Story Ni NANI podcast. My name is Uncle Mush.
My name is Muteti.
My name is Nalotresha.
Man, karibuni sana. Muteti is back.
Back kama mgongo wewe.
Ngoja useme hichi.
Kama mgongo.
Walisema mimi sikusikia ukifanya piu.
Hello.
Muteti is back. Alikuwa ameenda kuoana kidogo.
Unataka kudinai?
Don't let us story kwa channel jameni.
Beautiful. But kau jengia kwa WhatsApp channel on ujui hizi conversations. But anyway, man, today on studio we have an amazing guy. He's a friend of mine. I've known for a year. He's an interesting guy, and you'll know why I'm saying that. Anyway, ladies and gentlemen, Wamboi Kofia ABED. Karibu sana, man. Karibu sana. First of all, unakaa fit.
Asante.
Ni wewe unajivalishanga?
Well, nani mwingine?
Hauna stylist?
I am the stylist.
But Mani, ABED, karibu sana. You can tell us who you are, so just in case kuna mtu akujui.
Well, thank you so much for having me. Naitwa ABED. I am a counselor and a youth expert. So I normally deal with things to do with mental health and also talking to people concerning matters of life. Yeah, basically na hustling here and there, a lot of things around here.
Yeah. Sorry, karibu sana, man. Kuna mtu amesikia mental health ikakutrigger. Sorry. We are just here to pick a story. ABED is an all-round guy. And to start us off, kuna hii story nimeona ya nikikuuliza ukue my boyfriend. No, nikikuuliza ukue my girlfriend.
Nimeshindwa.
Kila basi imebadilika.
Nimemuka. Nikikuuliza ukue my girlfriend, for example, Nalotresha.
Yeah.
Haimaanishi wewe ndio girlfriend yangu, haimaanishi mimi ni boyfriend yako. Unanipata? Like lazima wewe uniulize.
Boyfriend yake ndio. Ni wote mko at the same level.
No, because I feel like if you've asked me, you are assuming you are mine. Why am I asking you?
Hapana, wewe mbona pia una assume? ABED, what do you think?
I think well, it can go two way around. The assumption is that there is something that has triggered me towards you.
Yeah.
And sometimes you expect the other person to think also the same.
Yeah, they're also
it should be mutual. But unfortunately, kama what I'm thinking is not what you are thinking, then hapo kuna drama.
But me, I'll lay on that hill. Nikikuuliza ukwe my girlfriend, wewe ndio girlfriend yangu.
Yeah.
Mimi sio boyfriend yako.
Mimi si boyfriend yako.
Mimi mtu mwingine akiniuliza.
Which is okay because unaona mimi ni girlfriend yako, but wewe si wangu. So I am
Ngoja. What?
Yeah. Mucha amenuza ni kwe
girlfriend yako.
I am his girlfriend.
Yes.
He is not my boyfriend.
Yes.
Which means I can go to Muteti.
No, wewe ni girlfriend.
Ngoja. Musha ameshakuuliza ukweli.
Nishakuuliza.
Yeah. But
Wewe
yeye
ni
si
baby
chali yangu.
No.
Mimi ni wake, yes si wangu. Una get? Una get?
Tuko Nairobi.
Nalipata mabado nirudi. Explain by
so mtu hapa akona mtu ni Mush. Juu akona wewe kama demi yake.
Uko na mimi kama demi yako.
But
mimi siko na wewe. Mimi sina wewe.
You thought the tables were turned. Reverse Uno.
Actually, basically, for her, she's free.
Exactly.
Yeah, because
Nishamuuliza ako free aje?
Niko free kwa mimi wako.
Wewe ndio umesema uko na yeye. Yeye anja ana mtu.
Wewe ndio umemuuliza.
From where she stands, she doesn't have anyone.
Tuache ufala. That is that. Tafadhali ukiulizwa wewe ni wapi na yeye wako.
Maybe I think about it. Maybe this is why babes are always so ready to be with other people. You get? Like you would ask me, are you single? And I'd say yes. Alafu kuja uniambie, basi wewe ujuzu celebrate anniversary. anniversary meni celebrate. Exactly. Like
so ideally wewe unafaa uulize mteti akwe boyfriend yako.
Hapana. Mbona namuuliza? Si ameniuliza.
Atakuwaje wako? Mteti atakuwaje wako?
Imagine me as a girl coming and telling you, "Oh, Mutesi, can you be my wife?"
So sasa unauliza.
Mteti should not ask because if he asks, Joel can also be
You remember the last time? Can you imagine the last time women took charge even in the Bible? We ended up right now in this government, in this country.
Inayo
unasema hivi women wametuleta
20k views, 20k views.
But do you believe women should not take leadership roles from what you've said?
No, I don't believe that. Like we can't take leadership roles. Yeah, we should actually.
Abed, what do you think?
Well,
should women take leadership roles?
I don't think what you said could you please elaborate a little bit before I make my comment, because there's a lot to what you've just said. Yeah, but I want to understand your mind really.
I feel like it depends on the context. You remember the other episode we had here, Plus Wanga, talking about how some women, or rather most women she knows, are like the primary providers in the house. I don't believe that women cannot be leaders, women cannot be at the top of the food chain. They can, because they are very, very capable. I just think it's a society, we're in a society that is so used to men being the primary. And also remember when Aseli was saying we are nurturing.
Yes.
We actually are. Like, let's be real. It's not my duty as a woman to provide, but if there is no one providing, if there is no one that is being accountable, without me telling them to be accountable or forcing them, you have to do this, I'm gonna nurture it. But that doesn't mean I want to do it. You get?
Okay. But
so should women be leaders or not?
They should.
Okay.
But tukienda tu na wenye tumeappoint kwa government right now, Susan Kihika.
Busha man.
One year kwa as in okay.
Women ni kwa about kuuliza. I've not seen any substantial work from women. Now what I can even actually use as an example, we work here femicide. Women reps ni akina nani
but hapo kwa women kwa this government wako DJ.
Hiyo kwanza hiyo kiti ya women rep inafaa leo inafanyanga nini?
Hata inafaa kwa
inafanyanga nini?
Hata wanaweza kama mwanaume akuwe women rep.
That's what
But the last time I checked, it should be open, right?
A women rep seat should be open.
To like a woman.
A man could
be women rep.
Sasa pia mwanaume.
Si anashughulikia maslahi ya kila mama.
Kwa mama wewe.
Kuna wase wengi wanaumama, so I think they can take a role, yeah.
Watu wako na umama ni watu wa manio.
Unaanza mbaya. Every episode.
The thing is, Arsenal mlishinda tu just one game. You'd think it's a World Cup. And the thing is,
what was my prediction? 5-1. That was my prediction.
Nakumbuka 5-1.
Tukiwa hapa na nani? Was it Aseli? 5-1. That was my prediction. Actually nilikuwa na Mutiso. 5-1. Ilisha 3-0. Tuko na second leg.
I will say what a famous person once said. Why argue with a national fan when you can wait? Next week wewe. Okay, hii kitoka hata itakuwa mshacheza second leg. Lakini nyinyi Real Madrid, Mbappe,
hakuna. Tutakuwa hapa.
By the way, a lot of you don't want to agree that Arsenal is a proper team.
It is a proper team.
And Arsenal is no longer the team you used to run over and pretend like they are useless.
Let me ask you.
We are almost on the top there.
Okay.
If you watch that game while you're settled enough and without any biasness, you realize that Arsenal did a good job. And Arsenal... It's not like we are going to defend at Madrid. We are going to
attack.
Go at
that
them.
game is going to end 2-1.
Okay, which episode inatoka before.
And statistically, Arsenal is a very strong team defensively.
Okay, you know, the thing is, I do not agree. You guys played a good game. You game.
Chop rice.
Chop in the free kicks, bro.
Telling you.
Hey, but he's learning from Bruno Fernandes, so it's a good thing. Anyway, back to the story of women.
Bruno Fernandes is fighting for relegation, right? You don't learn from...
Back to the women.
Back to the women.
Women rape your kitty. I'll leo that hila little lewe. But kuna president Namibia ni a woman na vice president woman.
But what I would say, I will not measure the strength of women through the politicians we have in this country. Actually, some of the things you see with the politicians, the root comes from the family background. If the family background is not good, if you can't manage your family well, it will not be possible to manage other people. Like you will find some of these women don't have even strong family ties in terms of husbands, how they relate to their children. Sure. So I will not measure the politicians or compare politicians with all women. We have women who are not on the top there, but they are doing a good job in terms of raising their family, because I believe the best leadership starts from your family, how you've raised your family and what you believe. Do you respect your husband? Do you value you being a woman? And the conversation about whether who should be able to provide for the family is not a conversation we should be having if we truly love each other. Let's say the husband and wife, because if you love your husband, then you will understand when you need to come through as a woman. Biblically, the man is the head of the family, so providing and some stuff basically is the man. The leader. But as a lady, you are one. And I believe the reason as to why we have the conversation of who should provide is because the foundation and the relationship is not that strong in terms of love. But when you love each other, then the conversation of who should provide for the family disappears. Because now love takes over. And when love takes over, then emotions come in, and then you are like, okay, I can sort that, you can sort this, I can do this, I can do that. But the question I would ask all of us is, if there is a conversation of two people who are all working, but they're asking who should be doing what? What if your husband loses their job? That means the motivation of your relationship is not basically love, but because somebody can provide. So when there's a problem, it means the relationship no longer exists or becomes relevant.
Deep. But walisema mademu wengi wameolewa tu juu ya, cause when they get to, and I mean, could be wrong, a lot of women when they get to nalotesha anaenda kunipiga 29-30, they just settle for the nearest provider. Like a man who is...
See the nearest man. See the nearest man.
The nearest man, actually. Yes. Because at that point, they don't care about ati tall, dark and handsome. When ni mfupi na uko na pesa, kama tufunge ndoa jameni. But is a very important thing. So do you believe in 50-50? Ama what do you believe in?
Well, I don't believe in 50-50. I don't believe in who and who. I believe in... we are all together. Let's do this together. Let's walk the journey together. That is what I believe in, because at the end of the day, it is our family. It is us who are going to make it as beautiful as we would want it to look like. But when we say it is you, or you're doing 49, 48, what about if the other person loses their job? What does that mean? What are the implications of all that? For me, I think marriage is all about oneness, faithfulness, working together, love. That's a process or another thing that might arise. So it's not about 50-50. It is about, let's do this our own way. Let's
whatever works for the two of us.
Yes.
But Mush, you've said something very important, like when women get to 29 or 30, watu wanaweza nikujia for saying this.
Sema.
But let me say something. Let me put something out there. I feel like there is something called prime years that people don't really understand. For example, right now I am in my prime years. Like I am young, I would attract all caliber of men. You get
you attract all caliber of men.
Okay,
hypothetically.
Just in case, recently by the family gathering, extended family, people started talking about what I saw on the podcast. Exactly. So this is me as a fisher, but technically, I right now I attract all caliber of men.
1979 and 203.
And 205 and 207. But yeah, because right now I am young, I have more options. You get I am literally young. I am trying to stabilize. I am beautiful. Take it from me. 7 or 8 or 9 years from now, I will still be beautiful. You know, I'm sure. I will.
Yeah.
I will. I still will be beautiful. Definitely, I'll have a career.
Yeah.
But my options, definitely at 28 or 29, I don't know if it's just me. I wouldn't want to settle for like a 20-year-old or mtu apendis carry like the older one.
The appendix carry is
Like the older ones, you know, like right now. Arthritis. What is arthritis? Like, come on. So at that time, I want to stabilize. Who am I going to stabilize with? This man who's come to me, he has his life planned out together, and we can do this. Let's do it. But right now, kuniambia ni settle his world.
So you wouldn't settle down at this point in time?
Why am I just?
So what?
Why am I settling right now?
So what do you think is the appropriate time?
Age to settle down.
Age to settle.
Yeah.
It works out differently for other people. But for me, I'm not sharing my prime 20s with a man.
Why not?
Why?
I don't believe usema kuna the wife of your youth.
Jameni. Kuna the wife of. But in this current
so why
state,
do you want the man to share his prime years, which is
you.
30,
what are his prime years?
30 up to
From 30
Is that
to
time to him?
Yes,
that's how
your prime year
men work. Yeah.
Basi, I
your prime year
I haven't expected him to share it with me. I'm just saying that if I am stable and he is stable and that's his prime years, it's okay, we can. But sasa hata wewe sahi. Hypothetically.
Because yes, kuna hiyo example ya kwamba shorties the prime years ni kuanzia kitu 18 hadi kitu 26 max.
Yeah.
Guys wanaanzianga hapo 28, 30 all the way to like actually all the way to the end of the life,
bro. As
long as uko
But and then men also stabilize later than women.
Yes.
But they stabilize in the sense of umestabilize kustabilize. Unajua me right now, yes, nimestabilize, but nimestabilize also depending on other sources. You get what I'm saying?
I get you. For you, I'm talking even about financially and how their career spans out.
Yeah.
For sure, their prime years is E18 to 26.
Yeah.
If you can get your career going at that point, you will pick at it.
To go.
But my guys, it starts getting about 28 tukienda. So the main reason Joel is asking is because imagine wewe umetupa your prime years, umezunguka huko.
Miwa imefinywa kufinywa hadi haina siku. Sasa when I am about to nini?
Wakati sasa nimesettle down. Sasa niko stable.
But sasa si wote wanatimiwa ina nini?
Atikatai, but again to get you back to that place, how many girls of this time and age, Mush, are willing to, unaona ile example ABED aligive, you've lost your job. Sindio?
Yeah.
How many shorties in this day and age would say, by the way, I can handle the bills as you look for something, as we figure out a way to handle finances?
Can I ask you a question in direction to
that?
You mshaisikia kitu ya mwanaume akipata pesa anajua type yake vizuri.
Mwanaume anakuanga ameshajua type yake.
Nataka mniambie mshaisikia ama mjaisikia?
Tumesikia.
Kusikia na mnajua, si ndio?
Tumesikia
na watu is crazy. Because in that I get what you're saying. Yeah, someone wouldn't want to maybe in this generation a girl wouldn't hold you down. But then I also want to ask you, in what aspect am I holding you down? Am I your fiancé? Am I umesema husband? Husband, that is very, I feel like that's logical. Like, why are you not supporting your husband? You guys are tied in this. But boyfriend and fiancé,
sijasema kuhusu boyfriend. Maybe I'm just asking. In this day and age, how many ladies would get married and that situation happens and they hold down? Because the number one need for divorce, the number one cause for divorce in this current day and age is financial. Like, it's finances. So this is a very pivotal like topic. Tukifika hapo and Mteti is down bad. How many shorties as a wife would hold down Mteti your time?
Well, what I think is this. First of all, in this country, Kenya, I believe a lot of people enter into relationship without necessarily focusing on the right reasons for it. And anytime you start a relationship in the wrong basis, like you find somebody is motivated by the fact that the guy is rich and not the fact that they love the guy or they feel yes, he's a material husband or a potential husband for. But I believe you can never make a blunder or a mistake of going to a relationship motivated by the minor things that can really disappear with time, because money can disappear. But the question is, if this guy is broke today, is rich today, and tomorrow is broke, and probably married you because you felt like he was rich. The question is, if now one day that guy becomes broke, are you still going to continue with that relationship? If your answer is no, then look for the right reasons to enter into a relationship. The struggle of I need a rich guy, I need a guy with these attributes should always focus on, am I exactly the kind of a person I would want the other person to be?
Yeah, that's a good question.
If you want a guy who is rich, what are you doing yourself?
What are you bringing to the table?
What are you bringing?
Yeah, that's a very sensitive aspect as well.
Because you can't just put demands out there when you are already lazy, you're doing nothing about your life. Like nowadays in a family, we need each other to contribute towards our success. So the question about whether he's rich, whether he's driving, I had another lady saying, I can't get married to a guy who is not driving. Believe me, you can get married to a man actually who is broke but has a vision, and with the time you work your way to the top.
Abedi wasichana siku hizi hawatakangi vision.
Kuna niliona imeandika ati talking stage 1 week ashaniuliza which car brand I drive. Nikimwambia ata cheesy.
But sorry, talking stages nowadays are so crazy. Like,
I know.
People ask you questions that you're like, are we not supposed to be getting to know each other?
Car brands.
Where's your luxury home?
Where's your luxury home? It's crazy. I have luxury home at 2019.
The best destination you've ever been to.
The best
destination you've been to.
That's not in Africa.
That's not in Africa.
But I think the reality will still be the fact that you are not going to get into a relationship as a luxury. It is quite different when you enter into marriage, because now there are other demands that exist there. That probably when you were single and dating, you found life more easier because no one is becoming a burden to the other. But now when you get into the family setup, things are quite different. There are responsibilities there. So the joke of which car are you driving or which kind of a house you are living in,
so you
realize that conversation might change because there are now priorities that come with marriage. So I think, and also because of these particular areas and questions about the kind of luxurious life you are living, it is making even marriage a little bit difficult because people get there with the wrong motivation. And once you get there and your expectations are not met, you want to quit, you want to call it a day. So I would not the fact that we are not having a conversation about how wealth are you. It is also very important to know, even nowadays, even though things have changed, family has not changed. The reality will still be, we need to live as a husband and wife, and their responsibility.
So in your opinion, what do you think? Because I mean, we've a lot of families are breaking up. Kila mtu nikaa ameachwa. Kila mtu
season ya break up.
Kila mtu akona baby mama na baby dad.
Actually.
Yeah. So what do you think is the main reason as to why?
I think foundations of our relationships and wrong motivations and like you want money.
Yeah.
You get the money, but there's no love. You love that guy because he's rich, but the aspect of love does not exist. So you can enjoy money, but there are other things that entails marriage. Right. If you're not enjoying the real things, when I say real things, you understand what I'm saying?
No.
Please tell us.
Because you have realized that a lot of rich men wives are cheating. Because yes, you can provide the kind of luxurious life they want, but there's something more than that. There is what we call intimacy.
That is where Mutiti comes in.
Being capable of accomplishing your duties holistically, not only just giving money. You also need to be good on every area of your marriage. So we will continue having a lot of breakups in marriages so long as we focus on the minor things and not on the major things.
I wanted to ask a question on that, actually, as a psychologist and as a youth worker. Do you think these broken or failed marriages are affecting like the youth that you work with?
Absolutely. You will find that most of young people, when their parents break up, they are not stable in terms of their life, in terms of their faith, in terms of their emotions, their relationships too. Because I was talking to another young man and he said, I think marriage is a scam. It can't work. I asked him, why do you think so? He said, I have seen my mom getting harassed by my own father, my own mom. Harassed by my own father, and I realized marriage is just a scam. And you realize that these things are happening even amongst members in the church, where we must find hope and ways and solutions on how to handle things. But young people are affected by their fathers and mothers, way of living. Because if there is no strong bond in terms of family, then we are raising a young generation that is brokenhearted, that is depressed. And you can never survive in a relationship when you are not mentally stable. You will cause pain to any other person you will come across. If you enter into a relationship and you are already acting as a result of a relationship, you will hurt the other person. And no one deserves to be hurt by things they don't know. So you have to heal first before you enter into another relationship. Unfortunately, a lot of people think one way to heal is to enter into another relationship because you have already been broken in another relationship. But what I would advise is heal first before you enter into another relationship.
Is there like a specific time frame to heal?
I figured you would ask that.
You would ask that question.
Different people take different steps towards healing. There's someone who will heal fast, and that will depend on who surrounds you. If you have a strong bond with people who are strong and people who are able to value what you went through, then your healing process will be more easier and faster. But let's say, for example, you are broken and then you're living in a family that is really toxic. Every time something happens, you are triggered. Every time they do things that will trigger, and you become actually worse than you were before. But when you surround yourself with the right people, with the right company, and with the right also pastors, because there's something we don't talk a lot about pastors being also toxic in how they deal with people.
Pastors toxic.
Because if you're a member of a church and the pastor is not considerate and they are all about themselves, basically I call it selfish. There are pastors who don't care about the members. They only care about what they can receive from those members. And I believe you realize that you need a supportive family, but also you need a supportive pastor who is sensitive enough to not only receive the offering, but to take a step further to sit one-on-one with the members to know what they are going through. Because preaching on the pulpit is not enough. Take time and know people in a personal level. And from there, you are able to know how you can be of help to that particular individual. So for me, I think we need to surround ourselves with the right family members. We need to surround ourselves with the right friends, and we need to surround ourselves with also in Christian-based believers who are ready to listen to you and to walk with you in everything.
Umesema story ya pastors mbona watu wendi kanisa?
I can't answer on their behalf.
Young people are not going to church a lot. Why do you think?
Or rather, I think we could ask you. Are young people going to church?
They are, but we could be talking about whether they are motivated fully to be in the church. Because some of them can go to church because the parents are strict and they are pushing them to be in church. But I would reframe the question in another way and ask ourselves, what are we not doing in our churches right that makes our young people not to be excited to be in church?
Kuna chai.
Because for real, you realize that while church is a place of refuge, sometimes you find other churches are not creating the kind of environment that the young people need to be. And even if there's a church where young people are going in good numbers, you will find most of them during sermons, they are on their phones. It means there's something that the church leadership or the church basically is not doing right. And you realize that any church where young people have their own service, whereby they can do their programs, they can do programs that are really, they can identify themselves with. Apart from just preaching about giving, when some of them are comrades. I mean, when you preach about giving, yes, they need to know about giving, but they don't have something to give.
But what are you going to give?
So you can spend some time, you can spend their time better by telling them, let's have your own service. Let's preach things that are aligned properly with them. And let's embrace programs where they can feel part of it. They can identify themselves with them, with those programs. And as a result, we are going to create an environment where every youth feels, important, and they feel like they are part of what is happening. So I would answer your question by saying it's because we have wrong programs for the youth. And we are targeting more on the adult church more than focusing on the youth. I know of churches who have introduced youth services, and there are more than 500 young people coming to that. We grow their talents, we give them room to be themselves. I think that way the church will get it right.
I'm sorry to take you back, kidogo, to broken or failed marriages. What is it we are doing now that the older generation was not doing? Or what is it the older generation was not doing, we are doing now? Because Najua marriages, I think these marriages I know that have lasted 40, 50, 60 years. But sisi hapa hata miaka 5 ikifika, jameni.
Wrap it up.
What is it we are doing, or what is it we are not doing as a generation?
I will say 3 things. Number 1, exposure. Number 2, I will say wrong upbringing.
Okay.
But watu wanatulea ni hao wamekaa
50 years.
20, 30 years.
I will explain it.
Okay.
And then number 3, I would say a living falsehood or fake life.
Okay.
And that is basically one of the key things that we are struggling with. Look at a guy going to do a photo shoot with another person's car, and then they come here and say, today I was in this particular place, you know, enjoying life. And a girl online there, beautiful girl is there, sees this guy, says,
akona Benz.
Like Narotresh. No, a beautiful girl like that. For example.
So from nowhere, this girl says, I think this is my type. I like this guy.
Bora uko na gari wewe type ya kila mtu.
So I will ask you a question. You haven't spent some time with that guy to know him.
I will spend in the Benz though.
I'm
just saying. Yes. That's just a typical
logical. You haven't even known where they come from. You haven't known the secret behind their riches.
You will know it in the best.
And because there's something that has motivated you. You say, this is my type. My type. And you enter into a relationship with that. Finally, you realize that this was not the guy I was looking forward for. You can be married by a guy who is rich, but when there's no peace in that marriage, so in vain. You are going to struggle. You can be
money.
Piece of money. Yes. Piece of money, but I think, guys, there's a more important thing about marriage than money.
If you were to describe love, what is love according to
you?
I would say love is when well, that is a little bit difficult.
Love is a person. Mimi niko na description yangu ya love na wachezea ina few.
I would say love is when we are able, all of us, the two of us, to be able to accommodate each other, irrespective of our weaknesses and our lowest moments. And when you are able to put aside your ego, I put aside my ego, to accommodate each other and to agree to work together, irrespective of what weaknesses either of us might have. And then I would also add and say love is when you are ready to die for the other person.
That's Mr. Love. I don't think I have. Death. That is Jesus category up there.
The reality is a lot of people question why I said that, but I really
would you die for your person?
You realize even in like a corporate setup, you die, they replace you the next day.
They don't love you in corporate. They don't love you.
Unlike love.
Would you die for your partner?
Yes, I would, because I have chosen them. My question is, then why are you in that relationship if
you cannot die for them?
To work with them even when they are in their lowest moment? And I realize,
tell them,
this is why we are getting it all wrong. Because the conversation about whether I can leave you anytime is what is more in our society, more than the intention of why we married in the first place. So I think love is something greater than how we take it. And the more we realize that is something more special than just hanging around, you being called, I have a partner. There's some respect that comes to a man when they have a wife. There is.
Niko na definition ya love.
Kidogo tu before tuambie definition yake ya love. I want to take you back to what you were saying about marriage when Muteti asked in the society that we're in why marriage is not working, and then you came about it like the 3 definitions, right? Do you also feel like this is a controversial opinion that I have? Millennials, or rather our parents, glorified suffering. Like I have said it a lot, and I will keep saying it. Like, wait, in marriages, mshaisikia hizi vitu za ati amekuchapa bora analipa school fees. Amekuchapa bora. You get like ni kitu inakuanga hata I think there's a song sana ipe and they said like hapa ni kwa mama yako, we rudi kwa bwana yako. Like it's something that's there. Like in the traditional setup, I would go and tell my mom, aki anakuja usiku, and then mama yangu aniambie vumilia. But now, how many women on TikTok, you know, waliacha marriages zao, they have their empires. How many are side chicks? I've actually seen this. There are these people on TikTok. Sijui ni wako wawili, huyu ako Dubai, huyu ako TikTok.
Atuko, uko ni kwa vitunguu huko.
We are in a society that is modern and it is normalized. Like I have friends who are actually 26 and that unajua tunakonga tumezoea kufika 25 mtu bado unafaa kuwa na mtu.
Sijafika kijana mdogo uko 34 wewe usi shida yako ni kuniweka kwa kategori moja na huyu. Hiyo ndio makosa.
So many people like people that we follow on platforms, we know she's 30, he's 30, but he doesn't have someone, he's still working towards his future. So unaona kitambo mtu kama huyo angekuwa in the society like huyo hawezi pata bwana, huyo hawezi pata bibi, you get?
Me, I think I respect ladies who stand for themselves a lot.
Yeah.
And I don't support domestic violence. Yeah. It's not acceptable. Yeah. And I cannot tell someone vumilia when they are literally being beaten or their lives are in a threat of being yes. But do you realize that the reason as to why the marriages for these millennials or our parents survived because they didn't intend to be wise when it comes to marriage.
Yeah, because
in terms of I believe kuna kaunjinga frani inahitajika when it comes to marriage. In terms of if you want to be too much wise, then you're going to fail in marriage. If you want to think too much, and then you come to TikTok, you read what people are saying about themselves, and then you are going home like, I want to try what worked for the other person. Then unakuja unapata msee, unakujia hivyo is different. Unalimwa, marriage inaisha.
Unalimwa na unalimwa.
All of us, no, don't. all of a sudden, you copied what, like here we are copying a lot what people from the US are doing in terms of, we are equal and stuff like that. But culturally, I think we are quite different. And men here feel they are superior. It shouldn't be like that. But there are things that can work for the other person that will not work in your marriage. It is upon you as a lady to figure out how you're going to handle problems within your marriage. For you as a gentleman, it's upon you to know how you're going to work out, the challenges you're facing in your marriage. What will work for Joel in his marriage will not work for me.
Yes, of course.
So the wisdom... I think what we should be talking about here is for God to give us wisdom to deal with the other person. Yeah. Do you know when you marry, this is quite somebody from another family, from another generation, from another background, who refuses to probably to stay in their place to come and call your place home.
Refuses really?
I don't.
Maybe I'm wrong. Ametoka kwao, amekuja.
In a way, ni kama umekataa kwenu, because the Bible says you leave your parents na utaambatana na.
Unaweza
realize marriage unaombaga like likely kuomba bwana yako ruhusa ya kwenda kwa wazazi wako.
Si ati likely unaomba ati likely.
You have to say
that conversation like, babe, can I go see my what?
What you be?
Not this weekend.
Not this weekend. This weekend.
Umekaa tu kwa nyumba hiyo weekend.
Na lotosha wewe unakaa December utakuwa unaenda kwenu home.
December?
Christmas.
Wiki mbili naenda kwetu 1 month.
But I can ask you, kama wewe msee anaweza acha kwao, akuje kukaa kwa wenyewe na aseme this is my place. Na kwanza saa zingine bwana anakuwa it's difficult to make decisions within the family because that lady has said hapa ni kwangu. If they can dare to do that and leave their family to come to you, do you think it will be difficult for them to leave you and go?
Swali balaga. No, it's not difficult. But I feel like it depends on the lady, because if a lady comes and they know this is their place, now they'll own it as their place. Kwake.
Hata tunasemanga kama sasa ukitaka kwenda kwenu unasemanga naenda kwa nani? Mama yangu ama baba yangu?
By the way, naenda kwa mamangu. Kwani juu ya chakula.
So the reason I say that is because you can never make marriage a place of suffering. A marriage is not a place where you bring somebody and you begin suffering together. A marriage should be a place where yes, you know. When I'm talking about suffering, I'm not saying even financially alone. When there is no peace of mind, that is also suffering. When there is a toxicity between the parents of the husband and the woman, that is also suffering because you lack peace of mind. But it's upon us to ask God for wisdom to solve each problem, because the reality is when you're in that relationship, there will be chaos. There will be times when things will come and you need to solve problems. It's upon us to ask God for wisdom to be able to deal with the challenges. Because if we use our wisdom, we are done.
Yeah, Mush was actually about to play the...
Yes.
Unataka kuachezea my definition of love. Hebu niambie inasikika hapo.
I've sent you money.
Inasikika? If you know Fanuel Orono, you will know this video. Aya.
1,000 shillings.
My God bless.
But the name appearing is not your name.
No, my name.
Why?
Husband name.
Your husband's name?
Yes,
Why?
Fanuel Orono.
Why? Where's your phone? The money will go to him direct.
Yes, but I will receive that money.
So whose phone is that? His phone or your phone?
I'm the one whom I bought that phone and I gave it as my dear love.
Hello. My definition of come and see a Fanuel Orono strike you one. You know, I actually called hiyo number because alipeana number. I thought wako Nairobi. Ningemeleta hapa pod na mzee. Wallahi ningewaleta. But wakaniambia kwa Western man.
Imagine wewe unaambiwa sasa nataka kukumpesa, nataka kusurprise. Then unapeana namba ya demu yako.
I think those are two things, trust and faith in your person. Because she says najua nitapata hiyo pesa. I know I'll get the money.
I don't know, this is going to be a controversial opinion, but like I feel like people who have partners in the, am I supposed to call them, this is Nairobi suburbs, so these are leafy areas. In the rural areas, their love is really
conk.
I don't know if it's because of the living like conditions there, like wako so
Nairobi watu wako biashara. Mapenzi sangapi?
Kuna time ya kupeana namba ya mtu mwingine.
I'm the one who bought that phone, but I gave my dear love.
But I'll still say ukienyeji kwa marriage inasaidia.
That's
why nawaambia mimi nitaenda Butere Mumias
but we si kienyeji. You will still strangle.
No, you're not, because he loves me genuinely.
But you don't love him genuinely.
See, I am his girlfriend. Is he my boyfriend?
Yeah.
I am his. Mine.
Alafu umfanye
ninamweka huko.
Unajua kienyeji utagongewa na msee mwingine hata uamini.
Kijana wewe mwenye uchonga visu. Ama mde mwenye umfulie.
Utagongewa tu na madam fulani hata wewe useme oh my God.
I'll still insist on let's agree to make our relationship work.
I have a better solution. Let's just not try love and relationship.
Yes. And that also will entail know the other person properly. Know their motivation, know where they come from. There are people who come from a background where women are never married. And if they are married, they go back home. So instead of rushing because you have seen this 6-pack guy and you feel like, oh, this is... Believe me, 6-pack is different from the emotional part of what you're going to face while in that marriage. You can get a handsome man, a beautiful lady, but if they are toxic, then you're going to struggle for the entire. I would prefer hata umse asikue mrembo, but we can walk together
now,
a journey.
Which to a question I would ask you, wewe heri ulie kwa Range Rover ama ucheke kwa boda? Because I feel like where you're coming from, I'm trying to understand your perspective. So that question will really give me the perfect answer.
For me, I think
in marriage,
good life is very, very important. You don't need to strangle. I strangle today, and my children also come on board and strangle. So it is very important to work hard as a man in your marriage and give your wife a good life, your children good life. Poverty is an enemy, and is one of the things that cause a lot of chaos actually in marriage. What basically I'm saying is, with the circumstances, so long as you are working hard to make everything good, be able to agree on how to live together, be at peace with each other. So for me, I'm not against being rich or against being poor. I'm just saying...
You're not against being poor?
So I am. I mean, in terms of... we can't be rich, all of us. There are families where you'll find there is poverty. But if those people agree to work towards coming out of poverty...
But you do know that, yes, that's a real thing, but not everyone will make it to the...
Si kila mtu ataomoka.
Ushaona hizi tweets na sasa sisi wote tukini nani atakuwa
mama fua.
But you realize we all of us have one God.
Yeah.
And the God who sustains the rich will still sustain the poor in their own way.
Yeah.
So basically for me, what is important is not whether you are poor or you're rich. What is important is we have agreed to walk the journey together and give each other peace of mind, and let's balance the things. Instead of saying, because he's rich, I want to run to them, and then you are there all the years you will live. Depression, stress.
And I think in also what you've said, walking the walk, I think it's about also having conversations. Conversations are very important.
Very
for
important.
Any relationship, not even a romantic one. You're going to talk about, before we started the podcast, I asked you a question. Do you guys believe in physically beating a child like akikosea?
You asked that.
I did ask that.
Yes.
So such conversations, like personally,
what's your opinion on that?
I have been gentle parented, and I would never literally. Why am I beating? I can tell them. I can give them a timeout. Like I was given timeout.
Time out.
I was given timeout. Like, go there and think about what you've done.
Think about, man.
It's about.
I will motivate you to think.
This child, you're just inflicting pain on them. Unafikiria hata fanya hivyo tena akijua si nitachapa uchungu ishi.
Unajua si kumchapa ile kumuumiza.
Slapping, that it just feels like that's your anger that has risen.
Really?
Yeah.
I think some of us...
No. Kids, I feel like you guys will... You know how right now we always say everything stems out from childhood? Right now, I might... Kuna tu vitu nilifanywa hivi nikiwa mtoto. So why am I passing it on? Like you get, why am I stressing my kids?
Mimi nilifukuzwa nyumbani. Mimi na nyumbani tu moja. Sijapass.
I'm just saying, these are such conversations we're gonna... So imagine me ending up with you or Muteti, and then one day we have kids, and then mtoto sijui alifanya nini shuleni, and then Muteti has come, and then he's like, why have you done this? And I've never seen that in my house. I have never seen that in my house.
Mtoto anakudisha kusema kwa mama.
And then me, I'm like, this is grounds.
Can I ask you a question?
Yeah.
Can I ask you a question?
Yeah, it is grounds for divorce.
Can I ask you a question?
Ask me.
Why do you think you can't punish them?
Because
one word only. Why do you think you can't?
Abuse, honestly.
No, I mean the positive reason as to why I don't want them to inflict that abuse.
Pain to them.
The positive reason. Because
it would be love, right?
Yes, love.
It would be love.
Yeah.
You love them. But don't you think discipline your child is also love?
Yes, because and they're different forms
because
of
you want the best out of them.
You just don't want to beat them.
I just don't see myself lifting a finger or like something physical to show my child they did something wrong. Why can't I sit them and tell them, baby, what you did is wrong?
Ungekuwa mtoto ungesikia. Jeke tu kwa shoes za mtoto.
Mimi nilikuwa nasikia. Nilikuwa mtoto, nilikuwa nasikia. Mimi
as a child nikijikumbuka, please nichapwe.
Unajua mimi kuna wacha niwape example ya why we is with child. There is a time when I was a kid, I didn't know right and wrong. I think I was like 6 or I was in class 1. I think or class 2. And I didn't know ati gari haikuangi imepaintiwa. Like I thought gari ikienda kuoshwa ina paintiwa. Like sijui niwaelezeje. So this one time we were playing with kids in the estate. Yeah. So I take up a stone and I decide to write like my name on my mommy's car. So I write and I'm scratching it like E. So my mom comes home to a car that's like
Miss Treasure.
And actually wrote na Treasure, you can imagine.
Na vile jina hapo ni refu bana.
Alafu naona asioni kwa mbali, wacha nirudie. And then I'm telling my friends, you come right here. I'm telling you guys, my mom came. She looked at me, she was trembling. Like nilikuwa naona anafanya hivi. She told me, just go to your room. She didn't beat me. So if my mom didn't beat me because of that, I can imagine how much it costed her to nini that car. But she just told me, this is not good. You don't do this. This is not how it happens. And she explained to me. You get? Like, that is just an example. Nimefanya vitu wasi, nimevunja vitu. Nimefanya very many things.
About to agree.
Probably that would work for you. But for other kids, it might not.
Exactly. Really? Let's agree to disagree.
Yes.
Ya kwamba, mimi naye nikipata.
But
I think
there is an aspect of discipline there.
Yeah.
But for me, discipline children does not mean you hate them.
Yeah. Of course it doesn't.
It means you are pulling them and leaving some remembrance in their minds that what you did was wrong. And sometimes it might be depressing for a young kid, but when you grow up, you realize mom wanted the best out of me. So it should happen.
Imagine mimi nilichapwa na niko hivi.
Sasa
kasi ngechapwa.
Actually wase wengine we are where we are.
Play the fact that you guys stand out well.
Man,
I'm not downplaying.
Some of us
I don't know how to feel about that. I don't know how to feel about
you guys stand out. No, I'm just saying, but like imagine you've not had such a conversation with your partner. One day unaona mtoto wako anafaa kutandikwa kabisa, then you find your partner telling them, "No, you know, Sunana, you get these are conversations."
Na wacha wamalize conversation yao. Alafu niambie haya.
I do hear stories of like watu walikuwa wanachapa na belts, slippers. Like
I believe that is why there is still some difference in terms of discipline within our generation today. There are things I can say to a grown up, and there are things I can't say to them. In this current generation, they can say anything to anyone and they don't care.
Makes sense.
Because when mtu mkubwa hakuna mtu.
No. Because how they have been brought up is not good. You remember while we were growing up, and your visitors around there, there is an angle your mom will look at you. And you automatically know you can be killed the next minute. And then you leave for good. You go until the visitors are away. Nowadays, you can hear children, engaging in a conversation with grown-ups. That is lack of discipline. That can never be allowed in a particular generation that was already behind us.
Umesema ni utovu wa nidhamu.
Conversation with the guests. You can never break your bubble. I had conversations with guests as a child.
I mean, like your pastor is talking and the elders are there. All your mom is having a conversation with other people who have visited. And then you are like, hey, by the way, mom, hata mimi hiyo niliona. You see?
Kwa familia ilikuwa you are here to be seen, not to be heard.
That was suicidal mistake.
Oh, because you'd know after wazazi waende, after wageni waende.
No, even before wageni waende, there's an high contact that is going to come to you.
But uzuri haezi kuchapa mbele ya wageni.
Mgeni hata anaweza kuchapa. What do you mean?
Ulikuwa unawekwa nini?
Unashikiliwa hapa.
Wageni hawaoni and no crying. So for me, I think as far as the generation is changing, the more we are changing, there is an aspect of our culture that we are leaving behind, and we are raising irresponsible generation as a result. So I think you can punish your child, but always when you are punishing them, make sure they don't perceive it as hatred towards to them, but as a show of love.
But where did you believe your statement ya nachapa makosa sikuchapi wewe?
I think the action to answer. Mimi mamangu akinichapa alikuwa ananiwekea glucose after because nilikuwa napenda glucose. So amenichapa nalialia ananiletea glucose. So I don't know they love me.
Na for me, my mom before akuchape alikuwa anakupea food, unakula unashiba.
This is trauma.
I was trying the aspect of that.
Food was there, you know the next
No. She didn't, hakuwa anatuchapa every now and then.
But the one time,
it's a normal every day you eat, but one day amekusanya makosa
ukiona ameweka
and you eat normally and then you laugh normally. But one thing she was doing that was because after umechapwa unakasirika sana, and sometimes even eating can be a problem, but she wanted to make sure even though you might be bitter about it, umeshiba. But after that, tomorrow, believe me or not, she will make sure she does something that will
show you still love,
take away all that particular scenario and challenge. And that is how those parents were. Actually, I think they were more stronger in terms of being a caring parents than these parents who say, I can't touch my child.
Mtete wewe ulikuwa unapigwa tu. Kula chakula
naona hapa nasikia glucose, nasikia chakula.
Gentle parenting.
Ilikuwa nakupata.
Hata ujui ni saa ngapi.
But of course, kama ulikuwa unajua kwanza mngekula, mkishamaliza kila kitu, mjoke, alafu uitwe. Ambakuja ukaya hapa. This and this happened. Experience.
Ulikuwa unanyorosha, unatoka nje, unaambiwa rudi hapa. Unajileta.
Bana, alafu hakuna hata kukimbia, ati unakimbia. Unachapa alafu unaambia usilie. What do you mean usilie? Umenichapa.
Unasema unaenda kujinyonga, unapewa kama.
In this day and age, I feel like if you are to do that,
bro,
that would be very interesting.
Sasa atajinyonga.
Turn out ingekuwa.
But ulikuwa unaenda unaangalia hiyo mti hivi, unasema
ama kupata.
Yeah, I said
nimshaipack suitcase.
Suitcase? Ulikuwa na suitcase?
But you know
basi backpack.
Unapack nini kwanza?
Because you're tired of your parents.
Well, what are you packing? What are you packing in the first place?
Uka 40 minutes. Kona, siwezi kaa kwa hii baridi. Wacha nirudi nyumbani.
You should be asking unapack nini?
See, like
sometimes hata nguo uko nazo ni zile uko nazo.
Niza mzazi.
Na muteti ana agree.
But what do you think of corporal punishment in high schools? Mimi yo si agree.
Wasikupigie mtoto?
Yeah. I'd rather discipline my child.
I think in high schools, Missy J understand. In high schools, it felt like those teachers were trying to lash out. Like, kuna tu vitu tudogo, kuna mtu mmoja alikuwa tu anachapo in high school, you're like,
walimu hawakuwa sawa high school. Leo tunafaa tukubaliane sisi wote. Hawakuwa tu sawa. As in body makosa tu zingine hazimake sense.
Atiju
nishaambiwa nibebe mawe lori 2 za mawe nitoe sijui kwa uwanja nipeleke kwa construction site. Tukabeba, tulikuwa watu 6. After kufikisha anatuambia turudishe. Nilienda kwake nikamwambia cheki nitumetoa. What do you unasema nini? Unataka mkokoteni ama nini?
Sisi tulishaiona ati hizi unajuanga hizi viunzi na maji steeplechase, the things where wase wanarukanga kuna maji hapa. Tuliunda ya shule kwa sababu hiyo day tulipatikana Hatujafanya maswali 4 za mao. Tokeni penye mko. Hivyo wanaume wanane hiki.
Mwalimu tu umeamka 4 kwa dirisha. Wewe kuja Abedi. Wewe toka hapa bado ulale.
Wana setting alarm ndo waende.
Atukuje kunishika nimelala. Si ulale.
And then to think of it, some of those people were not being paid, like they were teachers on practice.
Usiguze teachers on practice.
Wako very ukiangalia.
Hata walio saa wewe walikuwa warembo deadly.
It's life.
Niko for one.
Well, there was a positive part of it in all those particular punishments. But I think it can't work now with our generation because wanajua kujiongea in a way. And there's a way you can treat your child and you lose them in terms of they cease to believe in you, they cease to talk to you.
It starts internally.
And this generation can find right people from anywhere.
This generation not in a cut off parents.
Yes.
They can
and they go to somewhere and msichana wa miaka kidogo anaenda anaolewa.
Miaka kidogo ni kanga hivi. Japo kwa kuelewa na miaka
20 23 24
msichana mdogo. Msichana.
Kweli, msichana mdogo.
So one thing the parents should be careful with is that what you call a child might not necessarily be a child. They might have been exposed to the world more than you can imagine. So unamchapa mara moja anachukuliwa na fiancé and that's all.
Because imagine parenting yetu vile itakuwa tricky bro.
We say we are the real parents.
We are not.
It's a place where mtakuwa mnaitana buda.
Manze
rada.
I think
problem yangu ni relationship with my boy.
Ati amechora alafu anataka kustick at kwa fridge.
Sindio?
Support local talent.
No. It's for support.
Imagine umechoka podcast kama ile alafu mama.
Si unamchukua.
Naona
but parenting yetu kwa tricky bro.
Really.
Mnafanya challenge, unafika home mtoto anakuambia Aki daddy there's this challenge. Every parent in our school has done it. You have to jump on it. Sasa hiyo uko na deni ya mita 2. Crazy.
Kama mama yake bado anataka kwenda.
Mama yake anataka kwenda.
So but Mungu atatusaidia. Every generation comes with solutions about how to go about it. So
man, you wouldn't believe it, but tumeongea 1 hour and some minutes.
Director
analiangalia anafungulia macho hivi. But I can pick your mind on a couple of things and then tumalize. Okay, I think tuliongelea but ni quote niliona ilikuwa imeandikwa X. 80% of married men cannot sleep after sex. You'd never guess because of why. Ebu guessini because of why?
Why?
Because they still have to drive home.
They will still want to
cut the cameras.
They still have to drive home.
Damn it. You see, unaona ile silence tumesikia on set. That's a silence.
I'm like, God damn it. Wanaume wana cheat sana.
You know me nilikuwa nafikiria so many things. But that
niliona hata mimi niko damn it. But anyway, thank you very much for coming. Thank you for coming. Unaweza tupea your last remarks and anything you'd want us to achwe nayo, but thank you very much for coming.
Okay, I will say thank you for having me. And basically what I will say to you and anyone watching me right now is that life is for living. Make the right choices and everything else will fall in place. And most importantly, no one can ever live this life for you. And you only have one chance to live it. Why don't you call yourself in a meeting and agree on the way forward from where you are? It doesn't matter whether you have made mistakes before and how severe those mistakes have, affected you. You can make a choice to begin all again. Above it all, with God, all things are possible. Amen. Thank you so much.
Hallelujah. Tunafaa tufunge na maombi manzi.
Kuna meeting alafu hiyo meeting najishekelelesha.
Man, hata tujapata episode title. Tunaita Aki Love. Bali tuongelea mapenzi sana. I don't know, but we'll figure it out.
But shout out to your partner. You really vote. Seems like
unamtaka nakujua na location sema tu ameanza kushot
mtu hawezi
malizia
get inside for my relationship.
What relationship?
mtu wako akikuuliza what should we do unamtuma kwa hii episode ambia twende to watch baby
episode 11 fadhali.
Anyway, sawa kama uja subscribe manze, this is the time to subscribe to Story ni Nani podcast. Follow us on all our pages as well. Kama ujaingia WhatsApp channel, amazing conversations are being had there, so please ingia kwa WhatsApp channel. They are all on our link tree on our social media platforms. But thank you so much. This was episode 11. We had ABED na every day swali yetu inakuanga kwani Story ni ya nani.
Please stop.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1